Imagine this, you're scrolling through your feed late at night, dreaming of that big break, when suddenly, you stumble upon the secrets of women who've shattered glass ceilings and built empires from nothing. But what if I told you that one of these billionaire women was about to reveal a mistake that nearly cost her everything, right here, in this story? Hold on, because in the next few seconds, you're going to hear something that could change how you see success forever. Cliffhanger 1. And just as she leaned in to whisper her darkest secret, a phone rang, interrupting what might have been the key to unlocking unimaginable wealth. Welcome to this epic journey where we dive deep into the lives of extraordinary women who've turned rags into riches. I'm your host, and today, we're not just talking money, we're talking heart-wrenching struggles, unbreakable resilience, and the raw emotions that fuel true success. Picture this as your front-row seat to inspiration that hits harder than a plot twist in your favorite drama. Let's start with Elena Vargas, a name that now echoes in boardrooms worldwide, but her story begins in a tiny apartment in a forgotten corner of Mexico City. Elena was born into poverty, the kind where dinner was sometimes just rice and dreams. Her mother worked 3 jobs as a seamstress, cleaner, and street vendor, barely scraping by after Elena's father abandoned them when she was 5. Little Elena would watch her mom stitch clothes late into the night, her fingers bleeding from the needles, and vow that one day, she'd make enough money to let her rest. But life had other plans. At 14, Elena dropped out of school to help support the family, taking on odd jobs like washing cars and selling handmade jewelry on the sidewalks. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the rejections from potential customers stung like salt in wounds. Yet, in those moments of despair, Elena found a spark, a love for fashion, inspired by the vibrant colors of her mother's fabrics. Fast forward to her early 20s. Elena had saved every peso, scraping together enough to buy a second-hand sewing machine. She started designing clothes in her cramped room, blending traditional Mexican patterns with modern twists. Her first big break came when a local boutique owner spotted one of her dresses on a friend and offered to sell a few pieces. Sales trickled in, but it was slow, agonizingly slow. Elena poured her soul into each garment, often crying over failed designs that no one wanted. The emotional toll was immense. She felt like she was failing her mother, who was now battling health issues from years of overwork. One night, after another rejection from a major retailer, Elena sat on the floor, surrounded by scraps of fabric, wondering if her dreams were just illusions. But here's where the resilience kicks in. Elena decided to take a risk. She used her last savings to attend a fashion expo in Los Angeles, hitching rides and crashing on couches. There, she met Sophia Chen, another aspiring entrepreneur from a similar background in rural China. Sophia had fled her village after her family disowned her for refusing an arranged marriage, arriving in the US with nothing but determination. The two bonded instantly over shared stories of hardship, and Sophia, who had a knack for tech, suggested Elena digitize her designs and sell online. Together, they sketched out a plan for an e-commerce site that celebrated cultural fusion fashion. Their partnership was electric, but not without storms. Early on, they faced a massive setback when a supplier scammed them out of thousands, leaving them in debt. Elena's mother fell ill, requiring expensive treatments, and Sophia battled homesickness that threatened to pull her back. The emotional depth here was profound. Elena would call Sophia in tears, questioning if they were crazy to chase this. Sophia, with her quiet strength, would remind her of their why, to prove that women from nowhere could conquer anywhere. They resolved it by pivoting to ethical sourcing, building relationships with small artisans, and crowdfunding their first collection. The campaign went viral on social media, thanks to a heartfelt video Elena posted about her mother's sacrifices. Donations poured in, not just money, but messages of support that healed old wounds. As their brand, Heritage Threads, exploded, Elena and Sophia became symbols of empowerment. But success brought new challenges. Jealous competitors spread rumors, accusing them of cultural appropriation, which hit Elena hard. Her designs were born from her roots, not theft. The backlash led to a dip in sales, and Elena spiraled into self-doubt, isolating herself and pushing Sophia away. It was a dark period. Elena even considered selling the company. Sophia, sensing the rift, organized an intervention with their team, sharing her own story of overcoming family rejection. Through tears and honest conversations, they rebuilt their bond, implementing transparency measures like detailed artisan spotlights on their site. Sales rebounded stronger, and Heritage Threads hit its first million in revenue. Now, let's shift to another powerhouse, Dr. Ayesha Patel, a biotech billionaire whose journey is a roller coaster of intellect and heartbreak. Ayesha grew up in a modest home in Mumbai, India, where education was the family's lifeline. Her father, a schoolteacher, instilled in her a love for science, but tragedy struck when he died from a rare disease when Ayesha was 12. Watching him suffer without affordable treatment ignited her passion for medicine. She excelled in school on scholarships, but as a woman in a male-dominated field, she faced constant belittling, from professors who dismissed her ideas to peers who undermined her. In her 20s, Ayesha moved to the U.S. for a PhD, leaving behind her widowed mother and siblings. The loneliness was crushing. She worked as a lab assistant by day and studied by night, often skipping meals to save money. Her breakthrough idea came during a sleepless night, a novel drug delivery system using nanotechnology to target cancer cells precisely, inspired by her father's illness. But funding was elusive. Investors laughed her out of rooms, saying a young immigrant woman couldn't lead such innovation. The rejections piled up, each one chipping away at her confidence. One particularly brutal meeting ended with an investor suggesting she stick to nursing, which left Ayesha in tears on the subway home. Enter her mentor, Dr. Maria Gonzalez, a seasoned scientist who'd faced similar biases. Maria saw Ayesha's potential and introduced her to a network of women in STEM. Together, they refined the prototype, but a lab accident destroyed months of work, nearly bankrupting Ayesha. Emotionally, she hit rock bottom, calling her mother in despair, feeling like she'd failed her father's memory. Maria's encouragement pulled her through. They rebuilt, securing a small grant from a women's empowerment fund. The resolution came when Ayesha's tech was tested successfully in trials, leading to a partnership with a major pharma company. Today, her company, NanoHeal, has saved countless lives, and Ayesha donates millions to scholarships for girls in science. But wait, our story isn't complete without Victoria Kane, the tech mogul whose path is laced with betrayal and redemption. Victoria was raised in foster care in Chicago after her parents' drug addiction tore the family apart. Bouncing between homes, she found solace in computers at the public library, teaching herself coding from outdated books. By 18, she was hacking together apps for fun, but a stint in juvie for a misguided prank, hacking a school system to expose bullying, scarred her record. Determined to rise above, Victoria landed a low-level job at a startup, where her talent shone. She developed an AI algorithm for personalized learning, but her boss stole the credit, firing her when she confronted him. Devastated, Victoria hit the streets again, homeless for months, coding on borrowed laptops in cafes. The emotional weight was immense, feelings of worthlessness from her childhood resurfaced, leading to a breakdown. A kind stranger, an elderly librarian who'd seen her potential years ago, offered shelter and connected her to a women's coding bootcamp. There, Victoria met her co-founder, Lena Novak, a refugee from Eastern Europe fleeing political turmoil. Lena's story of losing her family to war mirrored Victoria's losses, creating an instant, deep connection. They built EduAI, an app revolutionizing education for underserved kids. Early challenges included cyber attacks from competitors and funding droughts. Victoria's past record scared investors, and Lena battled PTSD from her traumas. One night, after a failed pitch, Victoria confessed her fears of abandonment, and Lena shared her survivor's guilt. This vulnerability strengthened them. They resolved by open-sourcing parts of their code to build community trust, attracting ethical investors. Success surged when a viral demo caught a venture capitalist's eye, leading to explosive growth. But betrayal struck again. A trusted employee leaked proprietary info. Victoria wanted to quit, but Lena's unwavering support reminded her of their shared resilience. They sued, won, and used the settlement to expand globally, impacting millions. Victoria now mentors foster kids, turning her pain into purpose. As we weave these stories together, imagine Elena, Sophia, Aisha, Victoria, and others gathering at a summit I hosted in this narrative. They're sharing laughs and tears, revealing how vulnerability was their secret weapon. Elena admits her near collapse from burnout, Sophia her imposter syndrome, Aisha her grief-fueled drive, Victoria her forgiveness journey. The room buzzes with energy, but suddenly, a young attendee stands up, a girl from a background like theirs. Asking, "How do I start when I have nothing?" Cliffhanger 2, the billionaires exchange knowing glances, and Elena begins. It starts with one decision that scares you senseless. But before she can finish, the lights flicker, and a mysterious envelope arrives at the door, addressed to all of them. The envelope contains a challenge, a collaborative project to fund startups by women in poverty. Emotions run high as they reminisce about their lows. Elena's mother's illness, Sophia's disownment, Aisha's father's death, Victoria's homelessness. They pledge billions, but personal conflicts arise. Sophia hesitates, fearing it exposes her past. Aisha worries about ethics in biotech ties. Through heated debates and heartfelt apologies, they resolve by creating transparent guidelines, turning potential division into unity. Now, meet Isabelle Moreau, the French cosmetics queen whose elegance hides a turbulent past. Born in a Parisian suburb to immigrant parents from Algeria, Isabelle faced racism daily. Her father worked as a janitor, her mother a nanny, and young Isabelle dreamed of beauty products that celebrated diverse skin tones. Bullied for her curly hair and olive skin, she experimented with homemade creams in her tiny bathroom. At 22, she launched Diversite Beauty from her apartment, using natural ingredients. Initial success came via farmers' markets, but a factory fire destroyed her inventory, plunging her into debt. Emotionally shattered, Isabelle questioned her worth, echoing childhood taunts. Her resolution? Partnering with a community of women artisans in North Africa, rebuilding ethically. The brand boomed, but a scandal involving a counterfeit ring threatened everything. Isabelle's integrity shone as she exposed it herself, earning loyalty. Intertwining with our group, Isabelle joins the summit, sharing how cultural pride fueled her empire. The women bond over similar prejudices, Elena's Mexican roots, Sophia's Chinese heritage, Aisha's Indian background, Victoria's urban struggles. They discuss imposter syndrome, work-life balance, many sacrificed relationships, and the guilt of success while others suffer. Enter Naomi Takahashi, the Japanese fintech billionaire. Orphaned young, Naomi was raised by strict grandparents who valued tradition over ambition. She secretly studied finance online, creating a budgeting app for low-income families. Launching it led to hacks and lawsuits from banks fearing disruption. Naomi's emotional low, a panic attack during a trial, feeling alone. Her turnaround, hiring a diverse team, including mentors from underrepresented groups, leading to innovative features like AI fraud detection. At the summit, Naomi proposes blockchain for their fund, sparking excitement but also fears of complexity. Resolutions come through workshops, where vulnerabilities are shared, Naomi's orphan isolation mirroring Victoria's foster experiences. The narrative builds as more women join, Zara Ali, Saudi real estate tycoon who defied cultural norms, Brooke Hamilton, Australian mining heiress who rebuilt after family bankruptcy, Li Wei, Chinese e-commerce giant who escaped poverty through sheer grit. Each story delves deep, Zara's arranged marriage escape, Brooke's environmental battles, Li's factory worker origins. Challenges include gender bias, economic crashes, personal losses, like Zara losing a child to illness, fueling her philanthropy. The plot thickens with a global crisis simulation. A fictional economic downturn tests their fund. Emotions peak, arguments, breakdowns, reconciliations. They emerge stronger, launching initiatives that create jobs worldwide. Cliffhanger 3. As the summit ends, a whistleblower contacts them anonymously, claiming one of their companies harbors a dark secret that could unravel everything they've built. The whistleblower reveals minor ethical lapses in supply chains, which they address transparently, turning scandal into a model for corporate responsibility. The emotional climax, a group hug, tears flowing, as they realize their true wealth is in sisterhood. In the end, these women aren't just billionaires, they're beacons of hope. Their message: success isn't about money, it's about rising from ashes, embracing emotions, and lifting others. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiring tales that could spark your own journey. What's your dream? Share in the comments, maybe it'll inspire the next billionaire.